All right, guys, coming to you live from Whistler. Chris with.
Andreas,
Okay.
your friend from the internet.
I wasn't sure if you're going to say your name or not. There's going to be an awkward silence, but it's all good. We're working. So, yeah, we're coming here from Comor. We are days away from Whistler opening. I guess you're always days away because I just found that's a confusing thing because we're about 400 days away from it opening next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're never not away from it opening.
It's true.
It's just...
But it's nigh.
It's perpetual.
It's nigh right now. It's coming. Manolo Noriega, what's up, man? Good to have you here. Needles here. Oh, my bro. Smoochy Boochies.
Why,
Andrew
thank
Coates. Dang, I'll be sleeping. Dude, you're like almost here. Just wait a second. Burko, what's up? Andreas and Chris.
Sup, Burko?
What have you been up to? You went to go see a Snowboard premiere very recently.
Yeah, I went and saw Roadless over at Millennium Place. They had the premiere the other day.
And that's the Jeremy Jones, Travis Rice, Brandon Gucci, backcountry
Splitboarding movie.
Nice.
Yeah, they're all like chilling, talking about their experiences in the backcountry. They go through like a bunch of footage from years prior or years past. Aguchi talks about the mid-90s. Jeremy Jones sort of talks about the 2000s era, like the early 2000s. And then Travis talks about like 2006 to 2010. It's pretty cool. It's a great movie.
But like a bunch of old snowboard pros.
I wouldn't say old. I would say past their like prime, you know?
Well, that's why I put it in inverted commas. So it's not really old. It's like relative to these 20-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. They're not young dogs. They're like older dudes.
They're no Red Gerards.
And they're just like going through, it's like through this nature reserve in the States where it's like this massive nature reserve where there's like no roads, nothing goes through there. So they hike for like 3 days through this massive nature reserve area. And
is it in that movie where Travis Rice is just sending his sled down the hill?
Yeah.
He just like go, and then it gets loads of air, and they're like, Travis Rice is, of course, his pack would do that.
Yeah, well, they all play this game where like they load up their packs and then shoot them down the hill and try to aim them in the right way. And I think it's like Travis's just misses a tree, and it's all good.
And gets air.
Yeah, and then Brian Aguchi uses...
Speaking of, a segue.
The Annex.
Segue to the Arbor Annex. Tell us a little bit about this board.
Ooh. Well, it's Brian Aguchi's new board, and this is his like big mountain powder directional oriented snowboard. And you guys can see in the top sheet there is quite a bit of carbon in this board, so it makes it super snappy and poppy. Great board for laying in hard carves and then also getting really good flotation. And yeah, it's a great like all-rounder, you know. Good.
They got their spoon technology in there.
Yeah, they have like you guys can see it here. It's almost like a triple base technology. They lip up the contact points in the tip and the tail so that you get really good turning initiation, and the board floats really well in powder as well. Yeah.
Definitely a board to check out.
Yeah, dude.
It's looking real fresh.
Yeah, and Arbor stuff is all like designed in California. It's pretty cool.
Nice. So yeah, Burko's here, El Stacker, Jose Bautista, Sublime Honeybee,
El Stacker,
Andrew Coates. I'm old.
Bad
Sometimes
riders.
we just gotta get a rest, you know. Sometimes you gotta go to bed at 4 in the afternoon. Bad Riders here. What's up, Carrie Pierce?
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah, good to have everybody here. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Awesome. And Tori's hand. And then the first super chat coming in from Bad Race saying, for the homies, shout out to the DWCP crew. Homies. Double
Thanks,
homies.
man. That's
Thanks.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, super appreciate it.
Any question? You just throwing it out there. Thank you, man. Raimi saying, hey boys, what do you guys recommend as a hard charging pair of bindings for carving?
I like the Now Drive. That's my absolute favorite binding. The Now bindings are designed by by JF Pelchat here in Whistler. And yeah, they're a fantastic binding. They're like
Skate Tech.
Yeah, Skate Tech technology. You get that moving fulcrum in the middle portion of the binding, which allows you to really drive your weight directly to the edges of your board. Feels kind of like a skateboard truck where you can lean into the board a little bit more. And then the drive is like an 8 out of 10 flex, fits like a baseball glove on your foot. And it used to be Jeremy Jones's pro model, but now the Jones lineup has their own Jones binding that also utilizes skate tech technology. So
they had a little word with
Well,
JF and
I
got
think
the
that-
rights to it.
I think Jeremy Jones was also like a part owner of Now Bindings, so they just sort of took the patent and decided to continue using it for the Jones stuff as well.
Under the Nidecker umbrella.
Yeah, the Nidecker umbrella.
The umbrella. We'll call them the Umbrella Corp from now on, from Resident Evil. Well, that might be a bit harsh. I think they're a lot nicer than they are. Yeah, everybody's hopefully getting riding soon.
Board through the pain. Sup, my dudes?
Hey.
Oh, you
Good to
know,
have you here.
all of the stuff is up. We're here in Whistler. It's finally back to being precipitation-y. So it's raining. We're hoping that it's snowing. I think it's snowing like
There's
just
been some-
past midpoint.
Yeah.
So mid-station, yeah.
I did see an article in the news that said this is the longest drought we've had on record ending in November. Because notoriously, Northwest of the America, Washington and BC, a lot of rain in the fall, a lot of rain in autumn. And so, yeah, it was like 3 weeks without anything more than a trace of rain.
Yeah, it
And we're
rained
free.
all of October, and then like November hit, and there was no precipitation. So we're finally into the precipitation again.
As you can see from our backcountry snowboard video, where it went from being like relatively good snow to like bare bones riding, RIP Andreas' dump truck.
Yeah, I lost my Burton dump truck riding around on the rocks the other day.
So if you want to see the death of a snowboard and go shed a tear, then go watch that. And it's a shame because that dump truck, they only made that for 1 year.
Yeah, I really should have taken out a older, crappier board, but hey, what can you do, right?
You live, you learn.
Good old Alanis.
Gotta quote Alanis from time to time. Dude Knight saying, hey, for Washington, keep up the good work, guys. Thanks so much. Yeah,
Thanks, man.
we're getting the stoke is rising. We're getting days away from snowboarding here. Burko's coming from Washington State. Awesome. Boise, Idaho, of course. El Stacker, what's up, my man? Matthew Mills saying, what would you guys say is the main difference between the GNU headspace and the Huck knife?
Ooh, I feel like the headspace is like, they're both like a kind of like 4 out of 10 flex. I think that the headspace is like maybe slightly more compliant of a board. They just feel a little bit different. Between the two, I kind of feel like the headspace is, the headspace has the asymmetry story to it, which is kind of an interesting factor. You have a shallower heel turning radius or a shallower heel edge, so that you get more power out of your heel. It's a little bit more intuitive feeling.
They don't have the Magna Traction on the
You also
Solomon.
get Magna Traction on the GNU, you mean?
I said they don't have it on the
Yeah,
Solomon.
they don't have it on the Solomon.
They do
So
have it.
you could imagine that Magna Traction helps with edge control, helps with stability when you're on ice. So I like that about the GNU. I think I personally like the GNU headspace a little bit better than the Huck knife. The Huck knife feels maybe a little bit more glassy feeling, versus the GNU feels maybe a little bit more like a wood feeling board. They're both made of wood, but I think that there's more glass in the Huck knife.
Cool, good question. Chris Heinrich, the dynamic duo returns. I'm ready for knowledge.
The
If you want to get the
dynamic duo.
knowledge, you have to throw some questions out there. That's the best way to pull knowledge out of us.
I've been growing
It's like
out my
a tooth.
beard so that I have extra knowledge, because everyone knows the longer the beard, the more knowledgeable the man.
That's pretty. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. See, where's your beard? You've got no knowledge.
I
right
lost
now.
my knowledge. My knowledge running. It's just
how can
coming
anyone
back.
trust you?
It's my knowledge is a day old.
Oh my goodness.
Zach Zerp saying, hey from Australia. Cool, thanks for coming in. He's saying, finally good to get a catch one of you guys' live chats. Unfortunately, it's only because I broke my arm a little back doing backcountry on the weekend.
Oh no, that sucks, dude.
Happy healing. I mean,
man, that
thanks.
sucks. What happened? Did you hit a tree, or did you fall off a giant jump, or?
I'm intrigued. Because we had some interesting rock and snow coverage on our little backcountry trip, and it was potentially.
I think the board took
dangerous.
the majority of the blow for me, but if it had been my back, that would have been a whole other story.
Or your butt.
Yeah.
Jeez, let's not think about that too much. Bradley Hank is saying, when are you guys going to go destroy some more boards riding rocks? Oh, good timing.
I don't know, guys. It depends on how much snow we get this week. I was contemplating going tomorrow, but I don't know if we're going to get enough to make it worthwhile.
I think if it was, like, if you had the weekend off, then it would be worth it by then, because we do have most day, I think like 5 out of 7 days have got rain or snow, and the temperature's dropping each day, so the snow should be getting lower. So as the week continues...
It was definitely raining all day in the village today, so I was checking the webcams, and the webcams look like they've got a little bit of frosting of snow up there, which is a good thing.
Oh wow, L-Stacker's already had 4 days riding.
L-Stacker,
Coming, ripping it in
I
Boise.
saw your latest video, L-Stacker, in the park, just shredding some jumps on your park pickle. Super, super stoked for you, buddy. You look like you're having a great time, and I love the park pickle, so keep it up, man. Really, really stoked for you.
What's your favorite fruit or vegetable-based snowboard?
Ooh, well, Nicholas Mueller this year has a board coming out that's going to be a late release that's the same idea as like a Travis Rice Orca. It's like, you know how there's a regular version of the T-Rice and then they made like a shrunken, fatter version for the Orca? Well, the Mueller in the GNU lineup is going to have the same thing happen. They're going to take the GNU Mueller and they're going to make it smaller but fatter, and it's going to be a late release. I don't even know if it's been announced yet, but it's called the Fun Guy, and I can't wait to get my hands on that one.
Do they spell it Fun Guy, like G-U-I? Or
yeah, like the Fun Guy, but it's supposed to be like a fungi, like mushrooms kind of thing. Like
I did say fruit or vegetable. I don't know if mushrooms.
Mushrooms are a vegetable, aren't they?
I think they're technically a fungus that gets co-opted. I'm not sure. We may have to check this out.
Yeah, but it's sold in the produce section of the grocery store.
I think it's an anonymous. I'm going with anonymous. You know the word I'm talking about.
An anomaly?
Yeah. And then we know you love the skate banana too.
Oh, I love the skate banana. The skate banana and the park pickle are the same board, but the park pickle has asymmetry to it.
Max Shred, what's up? What's up? You saying looking in the battalion ET? I know it's a park board, but how is it at high speeds and carving?
Ooh, the Evil Twin, right. It's a good all-rounder, man. It still holds up at speed. You know, you can still take that thing pretty quick. And, yeah, that triple base technology makes it awesome for not having super sticky contact points, you know? It's really easy to get a rotation. And if you've checked out any of TJ's riding recently from Board Archive, you know, he rides the Evil Twin, and he slays on that thing, man.
It's true. I couldn't find the Evil Twin, but we did have the Surfer. Well, okay, my eyes were attracted to the Surfer. I'll be honest with you guys. This is what it's all about. If you can fit your head through there. If this was in medieval France, that would be a decapitation machine.
Yeah, dude, that Surfer is pretty sweet. I know it's definitely one of the boards I'd love to try this season. And again, I know that TJ loves the Surfer as well, so. But yeah, the Evil Twin we do have here, utilizing that triple base technology.
The Evil Twin would be like Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son.
Yeah, that's a crazy movie. You ever seen... That's like... Seriously, guys, no one's seen that movie, but Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son with Elijah Woods is like a terrifying horror drama. Like, Macaulay Culkin is pure evil in that film.
It's a good thing he grew out of it. He's obviously got quite the range from being the old kid locked at home to being this crazy kid. Yeah, that was when they were both like 11 or 9 or something. Manolo Noriega, I'm on chat, hitting up Jimmy Peak in 2 weeks. Cool.
Cool. I've never been to Jiminy Peaks.
Yeah, Burko saying it's raining in Seattle. Yeah, that's good. How's Baker looking over there? Baker would definitely be worth a little trip soon.
Is a small dent in my side cut a problem? Is it like you hit something and there's a dent in there? I mean, it kind of depends. Can you feel it when you're riding? I mean, it probably isn't a problem if you can't feel it when you're riding.
And it depends if you're getting any moisture that can get through there. If it's somehow slightly deformed and it's still kept its structure more or less, you're not developed any cracks.
A lot of my boards have slight dents in their side cuts.
Squeeze over a little bit there, Andreas. So yeah, it's always good to go, and if you're not sure, just get it checked out at a shop, because I mean, they'll probably try to sell you a repair on it, but it's better to keep it going. Hamish McLeod is here from the Clan McLeod. Paul C saying, one board wants to do some POW in the morning and some carved jumps in the afternoon. Super Pig or Kazoo. What other recommendations? Intermediate level rider. We were just having a look at the Kazoo the other day.
Yeah,
and
the
it looks
Kazoo Kokobo
fantastic.
Pro. The Kazoo and the Super Pig are definitely slightly different boards, but they can do similar things. The Super Pig is one of those reduced volume shaped boards, so you're supposed to buy it slightly shorter because it's a lot wider. And then the Super Pig is also full of carbon and has that camber profile, so it's very snappy. It's a great all-rounder category board, versus the Kazoo is more of like your traditional resort kind of shaped board, and there's a little bit more taper in that board, so naturally it has more of a pintail sort of feel to it, very turnable because the tail is narrower than the front end, so it carves really nimbly, and then there's a really good flotation to it as well because of the taper. Versus,
they both have their both of their side cuts go like deep into the tail, right? But then you also have, I think it's the Amplitech, the carbon and the flex in the Kazoo, but it's probably not going to have as much as the Wolverine slashes of carbon in the Super Pig.
Yeah, the 5 carbon array in the Super Pig.
That's why it's the Wolverine slash.
Yeah, it's a hard call because it's just like they're different feeling boards, you know? I would say that the Kazoo is like faster edge to edge versus, you know, the Super Pig being a shorter sort of, you know, reduced length board, wider shape. It's maybe a little bit more surfy, but it does sort of feel a little bit slower edge to edge just because it's wider.
And Chuck Van's here. What's up, man? Good to have you.
Hey, man.
Say, watching from Newcastle, Australia. Good to see you guys. Shout out to the DWCP crew on the line. I think I saw when I was in Australia, they had something on one of the local news stations that was like, men with a smile only their mothers can love. And the winner, I believe, came from Newcastle on that occasion.
Oh, no.
He was a fair-looking gent, I'll tell you. Nathan McCall saying, what it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
What's up? Andrew Coates, any thoughts on the LibTech Dynamo?
Yeah, so that's a new board that's out this year. C3 camber profile. I can show you. Hold on one second.
The old Dynamo.
Dynamite.
Yeah, it's a nice looking board. It's like the cold brew, but that one's more of C2 profile. This is C3.
Yeah. It's their all-mountain freeride directional shape. Take off the price tag there so you can see the board a little bit better.
Just in case you're wondering, the prices are in Canadian, so don't freak out if
Canadian money.
Americanzi.
Monopoly money, as they Americans sometimes call it. But yeah, man. LibTech build.
Yeah, good old mountain.
Serrated C3. C3 is a really cool camber profile because it's a dominant camber, but there is still like a minute rocker section in the middle of the board. That rockered section doesn't actually hit the ground, but what it does is when you're in powder, it activates so that you don't need to ride the board as set back. You can keep it in a twin sort of like setup, but then that little bit of that slight minute rocker activates when you're in powder so that it really floats.
What would you go for, cold brew or Dynamo?
Ooh, it kind of depends. I like the cold brew shape for trees. I like the Dynamo better for like all mountain charging, for like carving, you know?
I think I like the cold brew top sheet a tiny bit more with this little like stream with the little powder
white
pillows.
Top sheet's pretty cool.
But the Dynamo is kind of psychedelic. I like it. It looks like a Dalai Lama kind of thing. Board through the pain, snow dudes. Skaz talking about one of the original ASIM shredders, the Prototype 2 as an all mountain freestyle board.
Thoughts on the Prototype 2 as an all mountain freestyle board? Is that the Proto? Is that from Never Summer or is that from? Or is that the Battalion board?
No, it's Never Summer.
Because there's Never Summer Proto, and then there's also a Proto from Battalion, but that was a couple years back. Yeah, I would think that the prototype 2 is probably the Never Summer. I like the Never Summer stuff. It's a really good build. We don't carry it here at Comor, but they're one of the other brands that utilizes those hybrid C2 shapes, and I really like those shapes for versatility, especially when you're in the trees or on a tight, hard, bike path or something that's more technical.
And with the, I think it's one of the more original ASIM boards. I remember like TJ was doing something on that, and I was almost pulled me to the ASIM side once. And I definitely had to get on that. Someone was saying, oh, ZE, you should be a rabbi.
Me? Oh yeah, no, I could totally have the Church of Snowboarding and the religion of Snowboardology, and I could be your rabbi baby
Of snowboarding. Tyler Little saying how to get better switch riding. I would say that the best thing to do, so if you're kind of basics at switch riding and you want to get better at switch riding, then you just have to commit and just do as much as possible. Go to somewhere nice and easy, like a nice green or easy blue, and just get comfortable. I think one thing that is good to go is to really be thinking about the technique that you use when you ride regular, and then forcing yourself to do that rather than kind of trying to wing it.
Yeah, make sure that your bindings are at a equilateral angle. So make sure that you're riding 15-15, for example, or 18-18.
I'm not sure if that's equilateral.
Well,
mirrored,
yeah. So make sure that you can, symmetrical.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's the word I was looking for.
We'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, so that that your angles are the same. Obviously, learning to ride switch on a twin board is slightly easier than on a directional board. And my main recommendation would be to try to practice all of your switch riding on easier runs, and then try to do the entire run in switch until you're more than confident at it.
Yeah, I think when you're trying to step it up, there's always sections where you want to revert back, right? In your brain, you're like, oh, I should switch back now, and then you kind of get caught into doing that more often. So if you can just focus and not do that and just stay riding switch, and then just keep doing that, that's what I found really helped. Is just mileage and really trying to work it through.
It took me a whole season to really master being fully ambidextrous on my snowboard.
Master?
Yeah.
Master?
Well, I wouldn't say that I would say that I'm pretty confident in switch.
Grant Christopher saying, hey, I've got a weird one for you. I feel like, he says, jacket and pants fit well, but when I bend over, he moons his friends. Lucky guys. Do I need a long mid layer or maybe a bib? I'll tell you, I had that issue once. Suspenders. Got those elastic suspenders. Clipped them on. They got the crocodile clips. Shmam.
Yep. Suspenders are great. That, or make sure that you've got some kind of base layer underneath, like a pajama pant or a Burton base layer.
Or Depends underwear.
And that way no accidents will happen. And that, or just maybe a longer jacket, man. It kind of depends. That or use a belt on the pants to really reef it in.
Skaz is saying also picked up a cheap pair of the Nows to try out the Skate Tech, so to see how they are. Pilots.
Yeah, the Pilot's a great one. It's a mid-range, medium flex, good all-mountain category binding. I think you're really going to like it.
Chuck been chiming in that we were mountain boarding. I think some sections on that snowboard trip, if you guys haven't seen it, with RIP Dump Truck, Andreas' snowboard, the lower section, it was getting towards 30-40% dirt and rock, 60% snow.
Yeah, there was some real hairy spots, let's say. I was taking some good inspiration from Candide Thovex. He's that guy that rides for Faction Skis, who just rides entirely down grassy fields. Yeah, meadows.
Why not? Yeah, so you got to ride what you can. I think and the fact that we'd already spent all that time getting up there, I was like, we got to ride something. I was a little bit uncertain, especially when Andreas was standing atop this 20-foot section of dirt, and he's like, yep, let's just go. And there was actually a little I wouldn't call it a ravine, but
a divot.
A divot, yeah. And so you're riding diagonally over this divot, and it was fun. And everything survived apart from the snowboard. But if you're gonna break something, better your snowboard than your beautiful face. Robbie Berry saying, what's up? Saying hey from Poquoson, Virginia. Robbie, you always get me with that one. It's a funny name for me. We don't see many Poquosons.
Cool,
but thanks.
man.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, hey, what's up? From Virginia.
Robbie Berry saying hit that like button. Thanks, man. Ricky Hine, would you sooner fight one duck-sized horse or 20 horse-sized ducks? 20 horses duck size. Finally, a question that you can answer properly.
20 horse-sized ducks. Yeah. No, sorry. Wait, what was it? The whichever one's smaller.
The sizes are going to be inverted. So you got one duck that's the size of a horse, or 20 ducks that are actually horses, but they're the duck size.
Yeah, no, the horses that are duck size. I could kick those things all day, man. Yeah,
unless they're the Borg and they're all working together, I think that you could almost pick them off in groups, like maybe 2 or 3 at a time. But if you had this giant duck-sized horse, you're toast. He's just gonna like duck gobble you.
Yeah, like fighting a duck that's the size of a horse would be like fighting a dragon.
North Badger's here. He's saying the veggie Mueller.
Yeah,
good to have you on. Kevin Figueroa, hey man, good to have you here. Notorious Hansen, Andreas, looking for a good bang for your buck board. Any suggestions?
Well, if you can find a board from last season, last season boards are on sale between 30 and 40% off.
That's where to go.
Yeah, I really like the Solomon Super 8 that we have from last season. It's 40% off. It's a wicked board. It's great for Whistler. You get that all mountain sort of carving, powder oriented snowboard. Yeah.
But then if you can't, speaking of the Libtex, there was one that was like really, we were talking about, it was really good bang for your buck. Was it the cold brew?
Yeah, it was the cold brew. It's like not super expensive. Yeah, so that would be a great board.
It does depend a little bit on what kind of terrain you want to do as well, Han. Give us a little more info.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Van, greater beard, greater knowledge. Thanks, Chuck. I don't know. I've seen some people with some long beards that are just obviously not very smart. There's like birds living in there and stuff like that. Robbie Berry's moving next week to his local ski mountain.
Nice,
dude. Snowshoe in West Virginia. That's awesome. Is that your first time moving there? I know that's always fun. We're getting so close to the snow here. Man, I feel like we're almost behind the curve. Normally we're kind of like with the curve ahead. Alpine Arc is saying they got 0.002 centimeters of snow in Connecticut.
Oh, that's a ton there.
I think that's all you need, right?
It's enough to go snowboarding.
You just need that one layer for your board to ride over. So if you're riding over perfectly flat, perfectly smooth grass, I think that should be enough.
Yeah, that was like what Matt Manciani did.
Yeah, Maniaci.
And then there's that other guy now. There's a new YouTuber as well that just did that.
Charlie Sparkle saying Mount Hood is opening soon. Nice. Board Through the Pain saying my local mountain is about to open this Saturday. The whole East Coast is below normal temps.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's totally snowing over on that end of the world, or on that end of the continent.
Yeah, I was having a look at Toronto. They're getting smashed and like super cold there at the moment too. Yeah, it's coming here too. Roy Berry saying, yeah, you got a job as a lift attendant. Sweet. At Snowshoe. Word, get out. Everybody go and say hey to Robbie.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring him a coffee sometime. Bad Rising, how's Japanuary looking, Chris and Andreas? So I think at the moment we're kind of waiting because our minions of organization, Yannick and Narav, have been doing some looking around. We've just been trying to figure out accommodation and kind of where we're going to be staying. And so that is in the mix, and so that also affects the dates a bit. We don't have exact dates lined up. And also Kevin and TJ being away in Colorado shredding, so they got back
last night
at midnight basically. And so we're gonna meet up with those guys and figure out what the plan is.
What's up, Adam? What's going on, man?
I'm serious, and Andreas, Chris, looking forward to Whistler. Word!
Woohoo!
It's coming.
Yeah, man, can't wait to go shredding with you, bud.
And thanks again for those tasty treats. Jordan May saying, I love the Arbor Sin Nombre.
I like the
Amber for life.
I like the Castra Nostra. That one's super sick. So many people. LOL.
Maybe we didn't get that one before. We were talking about the Never Summer Prototype 2 before. Hopefully you got that, Robbie. So many people. Yeah, 23 likes. Hit that like button if you like what we're doing. Jenny Snipe saying, if you have any Never Summers in the shop, no.
We don't carry Never Summer here at Comor.
I think I haven't seen any board shop that's carried every brand, but you guys definitely have a good selection, but that would be one of the ones that they don't have, unfortunately.
Sorry, guys.
Can't have them all. George Cowley saying greetings from Chicago. Chris and Andreas, thanks, man. Hopefully you guys are doing well up there.
All
Down
things
there.
go to Chicago.
Chuck Vance is talking about the whole beard and knowledge. Wasn't me, Chris. I have been told I have a beautiful face. That's good to know.
You do have a beautiful face. Good job.
We've been spying on you a little bit. You do look good. Oh, a super chat from North Badger. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, man.
Nothing written.
You gotta
Just,
you
send
gotta
us some love.
Yeah, you gotta ask us a question or something, or make us, do something. That's awesome.
Andreas, you will yodel for
I
super
dance
chats.
and sing songs and tell stories and.
Could you also give a really full-on board press? Because those are quite interesting to watch you fly around with the board when you're a flex test.
Oh, a flex test.
If you guys super chat, throw a board in there, and then Andreas will flex test it on screen. Oh, North Badger saying, Japow funds, boys. See you in February if you're in Whistler. Awesome.
Sweet. Thanks,
think,
guys. Thanks, North Badger.
We're going to be doing Japan at like last 2 weeks of January, maybe into February. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to meet up.
L Stacker, you got to come to Japan, bro.
Sublime Honeybee saying invest in a ninja suit. Sublime Honeybee doesn't want to see you mooning your friends, I think. Snowy Nick saying, I was finally able to put a video of myself. I tend to lean back while riding. Any tips on keeping my weight on my front foot? Also, tend to want to crouch down. Any tips for standing up more? Yeah, so with that, I would take it down a little bit slower, just slow everything down just a little bit, and then get comfortable, like moving your body around. Because sometimes, like you think you're doing something with your body, but actually you're not. It's like bend your knees, and all you do is actually just like put your back down, and you feel like, oh, I'm going down because my head's closer to the ground, so it must be bending the knees. And so really just, if you can overemphasize different positions on your board and different movements, and then you can figure out what they feel like, and then also what is comfortable and what is like the best for technique. So slow everything down, start moving yourself around on your board a little bit, get used to the different types of things, and then figure out what works.
Yeah, maybe set your stance back a little bit. You'd get more power over the front end.
Yeah, because if you are set like center or a bit in front, and you're riding maybe sticky or snow or like chatter or powder, then you're naturally going to want to put your weight back so that your board can plane out and keep moving. So if you put that stance back, then it's going to be that natural body position is still going to have the same effect on the snow. L Stacker loves suspenders. Who doesn't? Carrie Pierce with a super chat. Japan fun. DWCP crew and the hearts. Thanks so much, Carrie. Robbie Berry has suspenders that you clip onto the pants. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I had. They're dope. They're really good.
Favorite snowboarding video game? I really like that. I have the new one, the Mark McMorris one that came out last season that was on PS4. What's it called? It's like Mark McMorris something or other.
Hits a tree.
But I think as a kid I played way more of Sean Palmer snowboarding on PS2. That was my favorite back in the day.
I was a Cool Borders.
Ooh, oh, and Snowboard Kids on N64. That was hilarious. N64 had Nagano Winter Sports, and you could play snowboarding on that. It also had 1080 snowboarding. N64 had Snowboard Kids 1 and 2.
And your choice is the Sean Palmer.
And then Sean Palmer was on PS2. And there's also SSX Tricky that was on a bunch of different platforms. I think I had it on Xbox 360. Yeah.
And your favorite?
Yeah, probably the Sean Palmer one. Just because that was like... That or Snowboard Kids. That was the racing game.
Saying Vance... Koo is saying, what's your opinion on the Nitro POW?
The POW, we don't actually have a POW here in stock this year, but it's...
I thought I saw one.
Yeah, there's the POW and then there's the Tree Hugger. And
the POW's the purple?
Yeah, it's like depending on the year, there's some that are yellow as well. But it's like they're big, shorter, more like...
Tapered, big
tapered
nose.
pintail shape. It's good. It's really good in the trees. It's really good in like tight areas. It's really good for a surfy feel.
It's good in POW.
Yeah, it's not amazing on hardpack, but it's really good in the deeper stuff.
It's kind of like the Storm Chaser minus being so swallowy. All right, guys, saying thanks for responding to the questions earlier. One more if you get to it. Have you guys ever ridden the Karua Shapes or United Shapes boards? Andreas.
I've ridden the Karua Shapes, and we're actually going to be carrying them here in the store this season.
Trendy Finder?
Yeah, right now we've got the Stealth.
This nice. You guys like white boards. My only concern with that is if you, of course, it should never happen, but if your board somehow slid down the mountain, it'd be like a stealth snowboard.
It's a pretty cool shape on this one. They've got that stunted tail. It's like a little mini swallowtail almost, similar to what you'd find in like a nitro squash. And then really big front shovel that's kind of squared off, gives you really good flotation and a lot of deflection out of the front end.
Reminds me of some of the Spring Break, the tree hugger, the nose on it.
Yeah, very similar to a tree hunter. Yeah.
Tree hunter.
Yeah. And then they make different versions of the boards. They make a regular version, then they also make a plus version. But yeah, they're really cool, intrinsic looking boards. They're very classic, red base, white top sheet, and there is no specific year to them either. So it's like the Tranny Finder or the Stealth, they just always will look the same until they stop making it. So
you could be buying a board from the 1970s.
Well, I guess they don't try to differentiate it by year. It's just like it is what it is, and they only make a few of. Yeah, it's a smaller production, I guess.
The one thing that concerns me is the awesome tail bit, which is amazing looking, isn't like a reinforced edge on the back, and that's totally the type of thing that I would ding in.
Oh, here on the edge, yeah. I think in the plus version it is reinforced. But it kind of depends, because like in the LibTech boards, they don't put the edge in the tip and the tail. And the reason why they don't do that is to lower the swing weight and to make the board more durable if you do smash it into something. So you could argue that this is maybe lighter because it doesn't have the edge in the tail, and it's also less likely to kink out an edge from the base.
If you are going to do a dingus move, it's going to be easier to fix as well.
Yeah, they're a cool brand. They make the Yearning for Turning videos. I think it's Japanese funded by two German brothers who started the company, and then they pretty much are like the actual company is from Switzerland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely German, Japanese. If you guys haven't seen it, the Sunokaru video that they do is really
that thing's
cool.
sick.
Which of course is a snorkel in Japanese. I think that's one of those words where there was no actual word for snorkel in Japanese before they brought over a snorkel.
Yeah.
So they were just like, oh, snorkel. Okay, snorkel.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, L Stacker.
Yeah, thanks, man. Coming on Super Chat. $5
that's
for
awesome.
Japan. Fun.
Every little bit helps.
It's coming. It's coming. Oh, George Kylie's gone with Amped 3.
Amped 3. I never played any of the Amped games. How are they?
Okay. Coming out of the Roman. Do you know Roman boards?
Roman. I know Rome. I don't know Roman.
Maybe that's what he's saying.
Versus Rosignol boards. I know of Rosignol boards. I know that that's actually what Xavier Delarue uses. He uses like the XV or something. It's like a soft flexing board from like a vertical standpoint, but then it's really torsionally rigid when you're maneuvering it this way. I've never actually ridden one of the Rosignol snowboards that are modern. However, my very first snowboard as a kid was a Rosignol snowboard. It just had like the red rooster on it.
And Xavier Delarue is kind of like the French Jeremy Jones.
Yeah.
Big mountain.
Big mountain
spines.
And like riding sheets of ice and glaciers. Borg, did I hear it correctly? You will be assimilated. Yeah, that's correct. It's a Star Trek reference.
There's 3 Star Trek responses. Perfect.
What?
Resistance
Data would be a nice technical boarder.
And Data would be a good boarder. Of course, he's a robot. He'd be like better boarder in the first 5 minutes than I am.
I think one of my all-time favorite movies is Star Trek First Contact, where, you get...
They kind of underplayed not the original Captain Kirk.
No, that's Star Trek Generations.
Oh, yeah,
Star
okay,
Trek First
good.
Contact is just Captain Picard, which is
With the Borg.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah,
with
Patrick Stewart.
And the drunk pilot that becomes the guy to make first contact.
Yeah,
I remember it now.
yeah,
It took me a
yeah.
second.
There's this like line in the movie where he's talking about the novel Moby Dick, and he really delivers it awesomely, because there's this part, I guess, in Moby Dick where he's like, if my chest had been a cannon, I would have shot my heart at the whale, because that's how much he wants revenge. Yeah.
Revenge can be a slippery slope. Commander Sats Moon Soon saying, Legends, I need a hard charging stuff, advanced all mountain board that's going to float in the powder, rip groomers. I read a custom X 162 wide. All mountain board, rip groomers, hovercraft.
The Jones flagship, the Jones hovercraft, the Yes Optimistic, the Nitro.
The S hybrid.
Yeah, the Yes Hybrid, the Nitro MTN. The MTN, Capita Kazu, a Burton flight attendant. Yeah, lots of different options.
And I think that's a good an area that's quite well covered by the board industry. Is a good POW ripper / groomer.
Yeah, most of those freeride inspired boards. The E-Jackknife would be another good one. The Mule Air by GNU.
Cool. I hope that helps. Yeah. Tell us if any of those get your blood pressure up.
Yeah, that Annex that we just had out before, the Arbor Annex, Brian Iguchi's new board, that'd be pretty cool.
Robbie Berry's taking the jump. I know we mentioned it before, but he quit his construction job and he's gonna be living in the mountains.
Nice.
That's basically what we did.
Making it work takes a little longer. Making it work takes a little time.
What's the reference? Who sings that?
I don't know. Who does sing that?
I forget. Have fun, yeah. Dude, you'll make new friends. Don't worry about your old friends. They'll come and visit. There's lots of good friends. The good thing about moving to a mountain town is that I wouldn't say everybody, but 99% of the people really love to be snowboarding and skiing. And so there you go. One thing you got in common that is also your favorite thing to do. So you're off on the right foot.
Look for a red 686 jacket on a Disruptor.
I think Nathan is talking about if they see each other riding.
Oh, true, yeah.
Amanda Lynn is going snowboarding for the first time this season this week. Have fun.
Cool, yeah, good luck.
Work through it, warm up, stretch down, have a hot tub, have a nice time out there. Stefan H saying Orca 153 versus 59. It just depends on your weight and what type of riding you want to be doing.
Yeah, the 5.3 is a little bit more nimble. It's a little bit more piste oriented. The 5.9 is a little bit better for flotation in the deeper stuff.
Nice. Frank's here. Frank. Good to have you, man. I feel like it's been a long time. Yeah. Dude, me and Frank go back.
Oh, yeah, Infinite Air. That's what the Mark McMorris game is called. That's a hard one to master, though. There's a lot of different tricks.
We're a bit behind. Everybody's still talking about that game. Okay, DeAndre Sheets saying, guys, on 5'11", 185, size 14, do you think the Warpig XL is appropriate?
Yes,
5'11".
Yeah, that would be a great board for you because it's extremely wide and therefore will accommodate, the biggest of boots. So that 14 boot size, something like an
it's
XL
eat
Warpig.
it up like an apple in a pig trough.
Yeah, that or like a Libtech Stump Ape would be another really good one.
Which is, we're talking about like ultra wide boards.
It's like a 28 underfoot.
And then, in terms of the noses, there was only one, that's slightly off topic, but the Nighthawk, the one Karua shapes, is 1 millimeter less wide on the nose.
Yeah.
So just beat it. But yeah, it's just definitely great they're making so many wide boards nowadays that if you do have size 14 feet, before you were basically stuck with having toe and heel drag, where now you can actually go out and rip and shred and T25, how's it going?
Howdy, y'all.
Good to have you. L-Stacker is talking about broccoli. Broccoli is good. If you want to keep up your protein, eat some broccoli. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit here. We'll catch this one from Ronan NYC. I'm 6 foot 185. Bought an Orca 153, and the only really comfortable stance is in the two most narrow positions. Is that going to be a problem considering the C2X profile? Should I size down? 185, 153, in the most narrow binding positions.
I think it should be fine, man. I don't think you need to go narrower. I always ride the majority of boards at their reference stance. So I don't keep my stance the same per every board I ride. I ride different sized boards at their reference stance because that's where they're designed to be used. So when you go a little bit to a longer board, I naturally go to a wider stance. When I go to a shorter board, I naturally ride a shorter stance, a narrower stance.
I hope that works out for you.
Yeah.
Osvaldo is here. Osvaldo, good to have you. La Dorada, tea, Earl Grey, hot, perfect. Andreas, you tested some crew shapes last season. I want to pick your brain. I'm looking at getting the Dart. 160 is a Pow Slayer, Groomer, Carver. Current Quiver is a Super Pig. And the War Pig. Taking a step away from the pigs to check out the crew shapes.
Yeah, the Dart has maybe a little bit more of a swallowtail shape to it. So you could argue that that pintail shape is extremely turnable. And then it's also maybe going to float a little bit better. The tail is going to sink way more than the Super Pig or the War Pig. The War Pig, you would argue, would be better in switch, or better for freestyle oriented stuff where you might land in switch, versus the Dart is going to be more powder specific, I would say.
And James D saying, thoughts on the Gore-Tex outerwear? Do you think they're worth the price? Because we were chatting, I mean, obviously Gore-Tex is amazing, but one of the PKs that we were at recently, they were saying that they have their own type of Gore-Tex, which they can't call Gore-Tex, but it almost works the same.
Yeah, it just depends on the brand. There's a lot of brands that are like moving to similar proprietary kind of technologies. The way that I think about it is that Gore-Tex is a more of a must, I would say, in wet climate temperature areas. So here in Whistler, we get a lot of precipitation, we get a lot of moisture.
Precipitation.
And if you're the person who wants to go snowboarding, even when we have, wet snow, sleet, rain, hail, Gore-Tex is going to be a much better option because it really does keep you fully dry, and it's breathable. It lets out that hot moisture that you're going to have when the jacket is done up, so it exhausts a lot better.
Especially when it's in that close to zero, because you're getting warmer and it's usually wetter as well, so you want to have that breathability.
Yeah, so areas, I came from Ontario originally. In Ontario, we have much colder conditions, and it's less likely that it's going to be wet. So in those conditions, it's okay to just have a 15,000 or 20,000 waterproofing jacket, versus if you're coming here to Whistler, I definitely encourage people to get Gore-Tex pants, especially because Gore-Tex pants are going to keep your butt wet when you're going on a lift that has that's been caked full of snow. Sometimes the lift comes down in the morning and they haven't cleared all the snow or all the slush off of it, and so then you're sitting in slushy wet snow, and if you don't have Gore-Tex pants, if they're not waterproof, it can really start your day wrong.
But yeah, and he is mentioning the Burton AK Volcom Gore. I think that they are basically the same kind of concept.
Yeah, the Gore-Tex is going to stay the same level of quality between the two brands because it's coming from Gore-Tex, but there are differences in the levels of Gore-Tex. So there's 2-layer versus 3-layer, and I will typically encourage people to get the 3-layer if you can, because it's lighter, it's more packable, and it's also the most breathable.
And Chuck Van coming in with the Making It Work, released by Doug and the Slugs.
1983. Good job, man. Thanks for looking that up.
And then, yeah, Royce was saying it's interesting. He assumed that his stance should be the same on each board. I'll experiment with that. Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, no, I always change my stances between different boards because my concept is that the board is designed to be ridden at the reference stance. That's where it's they've sort of conceptualized the board to get the best flex, to get the best feel out of it. So I used to be one of these guys that tried to keep the exact same stance board to board, and I found that it really didn't give me the best experience on some boards. So
you're taking away from how they designed the board to be. You're almost limiting it. So going in that reference stance, basically how they've designed the board to work is you being in that position.
Yeah, so some boards, depending on how they maneuver, some boards I actually like having the stance narrower. Some boards I want it a little bit wider. Typically, I ride a wider stance when I'm on like a twin pieced board, versus I ride a little bit narrower when I'm more on a powder-oriented snowboard.
Skylar was saying, hey guys, I just got a twin pig. Nice, man. I was wondering about bindings. I have the Union ST bindings. I've had them for about 2 years. I was wondering if they're a good combo.
The ST. Yeah, I think it's a decent one. I mean, you can always upgrade a little bit and go a little bit higher end to something like an Atlas or one of the Stratas. The Strata is a super popular binding. It's the one that Torstein uses. So, I mean, you could definitely go to one of those too. I personally prefer the Now bindings. I think that I would probably put something like a Now Pilot on there.
You're an unpaid shill for now.
I'm an unpaid shill.
They don't do anything for Andreas, but give him the ability to buy snowboard bindings like any other employee of the store, and he loves them. You ride nothing but Now.
Yeah, I ride Now Drive bindings. I've had 4 pairs or 5 pairs of them. Last year I bought 2 of them just so I could have them on different boards and not have to change them around too much.
Nice.
So actually, Kevin just bought a pair of Now Drive bindings today. He came into the shop. Yeah, he got
because he was gonna buy them before.
Yeah, he got some Now Drives in medium black, and it's going to be part of his list this year of stuff to use, and he bought it entirely on my recommendation. So
I'm actually, the next thing I want to get is a backcountry setup.
Yeah, you need a split board.
I know, and but anyway, that's a whole different conversation. But then the next thing I should probably get after that is some new bindings. And
yeah, you're still
totally
using...
on the Now Drives. Are looking pretty hot.
Yeah, they're pretty dope.
But then everybody's going to be right. I guess the thing with bindings, it's not like everybody riding the same board or jacket.
You can't really see the bindings as much.
No. A lot of people talking about Japanuary. Yeah, guys, Japanuary is going to be happening. Andreas is just going to tell Mr. Comor, I'm going to Japanuary. Deal with it.
I booked off the last 2 weeks of January, so I'm hoping that it all comes together.
It's like a well-baked cake.
Mm-hmm.
The ingredients are in. The oven is cooled. Brody's have a stuff. Okay. Haley Bamford's here. Better late than never. Thanks for joining us. Have you guys tried any of the
boutique boards brands like Wired,
High Tide, MFG, Amplid? I've been to the Wired factory and had a chat with Rob down there and seen how they do it. They make all their high-end boards in the factory down in Vancouver.
And then High Tide, we have some of them down at our Pemberton, we have some of the High Tide shapes, I believe, at Pacific Border, which we also own. It's part of the Comor umbrella. And yeah, High Tide's made out of Pemberton, I believe.
Out of the town?
Yeah, it's like local. It's up here, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But High Tide is like super cool. I haven't ridden one yet myself, but my head buyer, Liam, he rode a few of them, and he says he thinks that they're awesome. He says they're really good boards. So he was really impressed by them when he rode them.
Nice. I could always get a split board from Wired with a custom graphic of my face that goes, when the board goes. I'm just going to get all the snowboard YouTubers lined up on the base of the split board with like the kind of the Canadian out of South Park with the split, their face is just split, and have everybody's mouths.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Everybody's mouths on the split of the board so that everyone goes, hopefully you get what I'm talking about.
I'm not your friend, buddy. I'm not your buddy, guy. I'm not your guy, friend.
Haley's asking how we're doing. We're doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there, guys, and I'm keeping it real.
That's all that matters.
You got to keep it real.
You're holding it together quite well, whereas earlier you looked like you were about to bounce off the walls. He reined it in. He's a master of his self-control. Ladarada with the sake fund. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thanks for the support.
Arigato gozaimasu. L Stacker's going to Niseko. Sublime Honeybee saying, hey guys, have you used a Nick Wax spray on
DWR on your outerwear? Yeah, so that's
What's
a great.
The DWR?
It's a spray.
That's the spray you're showing me.
It's the spray to re-waterproof your waterproof garments, like a Gore-Tex shell or anything really for that matter, the key to it is that you make sure that your garment is clean before you put that DWR spray on, because if it's dirty, if there are dirt particles in the pores of your jacket,
Oil.
then the DWR component will not adhere properly to the pores of the jacket. So we tell people first, you want to make sure that you're using a specific washing, type of detergent for cleaning out the actual jacket, which I believe Nick Wax makes. You can buy like a tech wash, they call it. So you buy the tech wash, you wash the jacket entirely first to make sure that there's no oil or dirt or grime in the pores of the jacket, and then after that's done, you can use that DWR spray. And I like to really go extra hardcore on the shoulders, because you can imagine that's where water collects when it's a rainy day.
So because Nick Wax is the company that makes it, DWR is the chemical?
Yeah, like DWR is like the I guess
like WD-40?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I've done that before with my upper and lower, and just did the tech wash, and then did just one load. I didn't put anything else in, just my jacket pants. And I'm actually gonna have to do that soon, because
yeah, me too, actually.
Unsurprisingly, the lower half of my pants are just covered in dirt.
Yeah, mine
like
too.
Mud, just muddified. So yeah.
Who just made a video about it? Oh, Bored Through the Pain. Cool, man. I'll have to check it out. I'll give it a like.
Matthew Mills, are the Air Blaster Ninja suits worth it? I don't own one, but I know Kevin.
Yeah, no, I think
wears
that they're
his like 24/7.
They're great for really like maintaining your warmth, because there's no sort of areas for that warmth to escape through, like seams and stuff.
Ones if you have a flatulence issue. Does that have a chance to escape?
Chris, grow up. All right, grow up. There's a flap for that.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Cannonball that like button, yeah, slap it up.
Slap that like.
Only hit like an even number of times. An odd number of times. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Okay, Chuck Fan saying, can you explain what Skate Tech does for you and how it works?
Yeah, hold on, I'll go get one. I'll get the binding.
The Skate Tech, developed by J.F. Pilchat, has a fulcrum in the middle of the board, and it also has custom bushings, which Andreas will get into, but you can limit the amount of feedback you get through the snowboard. Take over, Andreas. I'm gonna go pick my nose over here.
You can see that there's this moving fulcrum in the middle portion of the binding. And that middle fulcrum is designed to emulate the way that skateboard trucks feel when you're leaning in and out of a turn. So the concept here is that most bindings, when you're using a snowboard binding, the binding is connected to the board through that center disc, and you're then pulling the board onto edge. So you're bringing that board onto its toe edge, you're bringing it up onto its heel edge. Versus with the now bindings, because you get that moving Skate Tech technology here, when you're leaning forward onto your toe edge, all of your weight displaces to these front two elastomers. And what that does is, instead of pulling the board onto edge, it now presses the board onto edge. And so all of your weight is distributed right to the end of the binding, which is right where your edge is. So it gives you better power, better control, more force directly to the edges of the board. Therefore, you get more instantaneous response. Also, that Skate Tech technology that sort of moves back and forth is doing a lot of the micro adjustments for you when you're on a tight area like a cat track. You know, you don't have to feel the binding moving around as much.
Touché.
I like the drives especially because that Skate Tech technology really helps me get that reboundy feeling when I'm carving hard. So I get a lot of life and energy out of the binding.
And I get the nice heel straps on there, and what about adjusting the bushings? Mm-hmm. They just are changing the amount of softness in the
so you can get stiff bushings, soft bushings, or medium flex bushings, and that allows the binding to move in different
more.
different amounts. I use the stiff ones myself because they're the most powerful, the most direct energy driving. Yeah.
Nice. So you see, you can see he knows his now. Mm-hmm. He live in the now.
I live in the when? The now! When people ask me for now bindings, I say, when would you like to purchase them? Now?
We're through the pain is saying he's not sponsored by Arbor, but he plugs them all the time.
Freaking great rides.
People got their things they love. Yeah, I don't. Board through pain. I'm not sure if you're here before, but we were checking out the new Brian Iguchi Pro model.
The Annex.
It's looking nash.
Where in Ontario are you from, Andreas? I'm in London, shredding Bowler Mountain and Blue Mountain. I'm from Mississauga originally, right at the border of Mississauga and Oakville.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and my main mountain back home was Blue Mountain. I would drive 2 hours to get there, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, twice a week. It was 8 hours of driving every week, and so yeah, I just decided to save that money and spend it on living in Whistler instead. I also grew up riding a lot of Mount St. Louis in Barrie. And obviously in Oakville, there's also Glen Eden. So I used to ride a little bit of Glen Eden, but not too much because it was a smaller hill.
Was it Craigleith?
Craigleith? Yeah, I've been to Craigleith before, but it's very small.
That was one of my first places. Actually, one of my first places snowboarding out in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Andreas, you can go, just go. That does sound very nice. From Carlos Enrique. What does that mean? You're speedy?
You can go. Just go. I hope that's a good thing.
I think so. He's put a smiley face.
Fast.
Have you ever tried Endeavor board?
No, I haven't. I think I've actually ridden one Endeavor board, like on a demo day. I think it was the Endeavor Select, it was called, and it had this really cool sort of sharpened swallowtail to it. I really liked the board. I thought it was like a fairly unique feel. I thought it was a really cool shape, but I've only ever ridden the one. So.
I think considering that they're from Vancouver, maybe I haven't been looking enough, but I haven't seen a huge amount of demo days with them or anything like that.
No, they're definitely a smaller brand. I don't think they have as much marketing power.
Matt Kramer saying, Andreas, I watched one of your boot videos about looking for new boots. How did you get that pair? Did you get the pair of Solomon's yet?
So I haven't decided if I'm going to get another pair of boots this season just yet, because last season I had 2 pairs of boots. I used the Salomon Lo-Fi, and I also used the Burton SLX. And I would say that I've maybe put about 50 days on either of them. So I'm not sure if I want to buy new boots yet, just because it sucks having to break in new boots. But I think if I was going to buy another new boot this season, it would be the Salomon Lo-Fi. I really do like that boot. And it's sort of in that mid $400 price range, and you get a lot of boot for the dollar there. It was designed by Bodie Merrill, and he made sort of 2 different versions. There's the Lo-Fi and the Hi-Fi. The Hi-Fi is like the really soft flexing version, versus the Lo-Fi is more the mid-range flex, and I think it's more rounded for Whistler.
Was Bodie Merrill the guy that has had some boot problems, and he's been moving around different companies, and he finally got the boot that he wanted, or was that somebody else?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but Bodie Merrill rides the ultimate ride in the Salomon lineup, and that's a wicked board as well. So he's a wicked rider.
Banana Dude is back, and he
Skate
loves
Banana
the Skate
Whistler.
Banana.
He hates the Skate Banana. He loves the Skate Banana.
It's complicated.
It's complicated with Banana Dude.
He's coming by. He's coming to Comor.
Nice. You come and get that Assassin Pro.
Do the secret handshake, and you'll get a free sticker.
Wait, what did I just dropped a video about the Nike Wax line?
Must be Nick Wax.
Oh, Nick Wax line. Not my most interesting video, but someone had to do it. Cool, man. I'll check it out.
I was thinking, he said it's not the most interesting video. I was thinking that I've been putting off doing a sintered versus extruded explanation, because I'm it's a lot of talking.
It's a lot of techie
a lot of
talk.
Tech stuff, yeah. Bad Riders, best way to clean snowboard outerwear.
Tech Wash by Nick Wax. It's definitely...
I was going to say just go full speed and then catch your edge.
Oh, God. Go swimming. just go surfing in your outerwear. No, I would say that Nikwax Tech Wash is the best stuff to use. You want to be careful because you don't want to use just normal laundry detergent. Normal laundry detergent can affect the
Do not.
the garment itself. So if you use Tech Wash, that's the best way to clean it.
I was actually gonna look up like if you can make a homemade Tech Wash with like baking soda and.
I'll just go get one to show you. Hold on.
So I'm thinking baking soda, lime juice, some crushed up caulking, and yeah, I'm not sure what else. Maybe some uranium or something like that. Kara saying, do you guys wear crash shorts under your base layer or over? How do you guys use a snowboard lock? How do you use a snowboard lock? Thanks, guys. Fun, sucks fun. I was just gonna finish this one. I wear my crash shorts under my base layer, over my base layer, and I don't actually use locks. We used to have more of an issue with snowboards getting stolen in Whistler, and they seem to have a good system of making sure that nobody steals boards.
I use a cable lock usually because those ones are more versatile. You can lock it to anything like a tree or a post or a fence. Versus like the other major one that exists here is the ski key, and those are the ones that fit specifically into the Whistler Blackcomb like ski slots that they have up there.
They're probably, I mean, the cable, if you have the right tool, you're just gonna.
It's
be able to
easy to cut.
But
It's
the
just a
idea
deterrent.
being, yeah, like if you have. That's why if I go into a place, I always find the nicest snowboard and put my board next to that. Because I'm like, if they're gonna take one of these boards, they're gonna take the nice one and not mine.
But Nikwax, these are sort of the things that you need. You're gonna want the basic one here is your don't spray me.
I didn't think any would actually come out. Sorry. Your hair's waterproof now.
So this is your wash-in spray, or sorry, your wash-in waterproofing. So you would use this in the washing machine. Versus this is for a down jacket. So if you've got a down jacket, they make a down specific wash. And then this is the spray on DWR spray.
For like gloves and things like that.
No, for a Gore-Tex shell too.
Okay.
Yeah, they make a balm for gloves as well, and they also make something that's the step before this. It's just called
it looks
Tech
identical.
Wash. Yeah.
For the washing.
Yeah, it's just to wash the garment first,
to replace
and then
your detergent.
yeah, and then this would be your like wash-in waterproofing. Yeah.
First you have to wash, and then you use the conditioner.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
it leaves
people
the hair
say-
silky smooth.
Some people
Who
say
is
shampoo is better. Some people say conditioner is
I
better.
clean the hair.
I make the hair silky smooth. Carla saying stories have Peter Pan syndrome. Words.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm like 15 inside.
Dude, Peter Pan's too old for me. Or I was gonna throw in an okay boomer meme.
Oh man.
I got the delivery wrong. Oh man, I must be a boomer. I was thinking about crash pants this season. Good question. Yeah, like I had a lateral shift many years ago in my T12 L1 in my lower and mid back, where my back went. And so my butt pants like give me so much, although it does look like I'm wearing an adult like Depends, it gives me so much confidence in the riding. And then when I do fall, it helps out a lot and probably saves me from taking a lot of time off snowboarding, which I think is the main thing. You can, maybe you might get some crap from the young kids, but if you're riding, like why would you want to look cool and then get injured?
It's one of those things, guys. I think that like wrist guards and butt pads are really good options if you're someone who's in the park a lot, and especially if you're like trying to nail new stuff and you want to have that confidence of not being able, to hurt yourself. Butt pads and wrist guards are a fantastic thing. Versus, if you're more of a free rider, like someone like myself, I don't really spend a lot of time in the park, so I don't really use a butt pad or wrist guards.
I'm not sure if it would help you, but one of the guys I know, I'm not sure if he's still in Whistler, but he's here for many years. He fell on a rock doing a small cliff jump, and it really messed him up. And so I don't know if butt pads would even save you in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You don't have to
It's
be
a hard call.
You have to be wearing one of those a chastity like belt, like a metal one.
A medieval chastity belt.
Then that might save your butt. It would get cold though. You don't want that sticking to you. Matthew Mill says leaning towards the headspace over the hot knife because of Ontario icy conditions. Yeah, dude, get the Magna Traction.
I like the Magna Traction for icy conditions. That's for sure.
Bad Rider saying I've only now did stap-ons. The one thing I don't like about Burton stap-ons, and I do love the idea, is that it's harder to demo because you need the boot. Like, you can't like rock up, and just grab a pair of their bindings. You know, the boots and the bindings are going together.
Yeah, it's better for the person that has to buy the boot and binding at the same time.
Because I really want to try them out.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to have a set.
Nice.
Mount St. Louis. Woo! Yeah, man, that's where I
Hail
learned
Shrem.
how to snowboard. I was actually a skier until age 11, and I begged my parents and begged my parents and begged my parents, and then they finally said that you could go snowboarding if you took lessons. And I think that they actually were like trying to call bluff. I think that they were like, he'll never take lessons. And then I was like, cool, I'll take lessons. I'll do anything to go snowboarding.
Nice.
And so, yeah, they put me in 8-week lessons every Sunday at Mount St. Louis.
The way that I did, well, it's more with the skiing, but growing up in Europe, and we go to France to go skiing for a week. It was a week. The lessons for the kids is kind of like here, where I feel like it's an excuse for the parents just to be like, oh, we get some free time, and like, there you go, look after our child for
I'm
the
going to go
entire
drink
day.
wine in the chalet.
Indeed. And and everybody else spoke French apart from me. And the lady was skiing, right? So she'd get all the kids together, and she's like, I won't even try the French, but she would go through what sounded like a very detailed lesson plan of what they were going to do. And then she'd turn to me and say, okay, Chris, just follow me down the hill. And then she would go. And I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out on some of this.
Something got lost in translation.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably making fun of you.
Thanks.
Look at this kid. He doesn't know anything. We could pretend that we're talking about skiing, but in actuality, we're just making fun of him.
Saying how silly gingers look with their big melon heads. NYC's coming up with a dumb follow-up. Apparently, I don't think, and there's no dumb questions.
Yeah, I can definitely help you out there. It's always the first set in, it's always, here, I'll show you.
Okay.
It's always,
Oh, it's two in. Okay, Bad Riders is throwing something in there.
it's always this one here, one in from the first insert point. So this guy here. And then same thing on the back here, one in from insert point, these guys here. That's what's going to be your reference.
So two in from the outside, one in from the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Get on that orca. Is anybody going to throw in a pod reference? I feel like the pod references of snowboarding with the orcas is like a meme that burned itself out. Too early, too fast.
Hey man, what do orcas eat? Orcas eat fish.
The burned fish isn't even that popular aboard anymore compared to
but
they ate all of the
they
fish.
ate the fish, yeah.
There's no fish left.
What originally got you guys into snowboarding? I used to really like skateboarding and like any board sport. Like I think in the early 90s, board sports in general were considered super cool, extreme. The Ninja Turtles, they skateboarded,
It's
so I was like a huge Ninja Turtle fan.
You hung out with rats. You ate pizza.
Yeah, I ate pizza. I remember as a kid trying to actually eat a slice of pizza the way that the Ninja Turtles eat pizza. So they would literally take a pizza and they would just like, and they would gobble it down their throat. And so I remember as like a 7-year-old kid being like, I'm gonna eat pizza that way, and tried to take a slice of pizza and just like gobble it all in one.
This kid's got a future.
And I vomited everywhere.
I actually tried a pizza with anchovies on.
Oh man, because of the Ninja Turtles.
And as like a young kid, I thought that was a terrible idea. In hindsight, I hated that taste.
Yeah, so my uncle had already bought me a skateboard, and I had like mastered how to skateboard, and so transitioning into snowboarding was slightly easier just because I already had one board sport down.
Nice. And for myself, I was going skiing as a young child of I think like 5 was the first time, and then it'd been like 3 or 4 times. And then my brothers are actually transitioned. They were, I think, about 16. They're 16 and 14. I was about 10, and I was watching these guys like, what is this new sport? Like, it was just starting to get popular. And of course, being my bigger brothers, they were like the coolest people in the world to me. And so that was kind of the thing that got me into it. Cool older brothers.
Nice.
JE just got the new GoPro 8. Can you make a video showing the best settings for snowboarding? Well, neither of us have a GoPro 8 yet.
Kevin just got one, and he said that he really likes it. He says it's super smooth. It's almost like a gimbal killer.
Hyper smooth?
Hyper smooth.
Yeah, it's got the hyper smooth boost, where you can like boost the smoothness, which I guess uses more battery.
My favorite setting is definitely their super view, and that way you get the most.
You only found out about the super view like 3 weeks ago.
I'm not very savvy.
I was showing him like, oh, Andreas, don't forget to change your camera to super view. He's like, what?
Super view?
Super view?
Yeah, so I really like that setting because it just gives you the widest angle.
Yeah.
On the camera.
If you're filming yourself, yeah, word. Dude, what's up? G-Form Crash shirt pants are awesome, especially for downhill mountain biking. Why not boarding too? Yeah, dude. Word. I gotta protect your butt either way.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I guess the crash pants, they probably have the old bit that tucks everything out the way. Because, when you go to do a huge jump on your bike, and then you realize mid-jump your feet aren't on the pedals.
Oh, God.
And then you land on your groin. And if you have the required equipment tucking the other equipment out of the way, then actually you just land on your perineum and you're all good. Otherwise, it hurts a lot, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Don't have too much to say about that.
Yikes.
T25 is called a spondylolisthesis or something like that. Spine injuries. Yeah. Spine injuries suck. What are you going to do? Miles Wilkins saying, should I buy shred soles or J-bar for my boot and heel lifts?
Heel lifts definitely will help the movement, but I don't like the way that heel lifts feel in the boots because they take your foot and instead of it being level, it props your foot forward, which is okay for like free riding, but I kind of like a flatter feel for getting power on my heel edge. So it kind of depends, but I think footbeds and J-bars in general are going to help. You can also go to like a ski shop and get something that's called a butterfly wrap, which is like a piece of boot fitting foam that wraps around the back of the liner in the boot, and that way it solidifies the heel, creating more compression, reduced volume around your ankle pocket.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hold it in tight. Sublime Honeybees, loving the wrist guards. Thanks for reminding he's going to shred park for the first time this season.
Sweet!
Yeah, I guess with because it's been a little bit of a contentious issue because I think if you do fall hard on your hands, on your wrists, they say that it can kind of transfer the pressure and then you can end up breaking your arm. People have done that. But I think also a way to look at that is your wrist is like the most complicated part of your arm. There's so many small bones and stuff moving in there that if you do start to damage your wrist, then it really limits you. So it's almost the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, I would say that
break your arm over your wrist.
Yeah, I'd rather break my arm over my wrist because your wrist is what you write with. Is the Holloman huck knife good for icy conditions?
That's gonna be the next year's board. Hey Solomon, you gonna do a suck knife at any point?
The Suck Knife Pro. The Huck Knife is decent in ice, but I wouldn't say it's the best in icy conditions. I would say that like Magna Traction is probably the better solution for an icy day.
Happy Shred saying, what's up, my dudes? What's going on? Hope you're doing well. What size boot do you guys ride? If it's a 10, you can take my step-ons for a lap. Yeah, I wear a 10.5.
Yeah, 10.5 is what I ride, so depending on the boot. Go Team Ginger.
Brad Ellen says, so I rode a weird stance last year, and this year I want to learn switch, but I'm nervous to try to put my bindings in a setter stance. You get used to it pretty quick, dude. Just go out, ride centered, and then just go out and take some easy laps, and before you know it, you'll be loving it.
Yeah, or at least make your binding angles symmetrical.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be full center stance. Like if you want to have it like one back on the back binding, you can make it more centered. But yeah, I think the humans are amazingly adaptable, and I'm sure you get on there, you're going to be getting it down in no time.
Me and my orca are lonely. Join a pod. Anchovies are tasty.
Yeah, well,
Are they?
I don't know. I'm not eating any for a long, long time, but I think it's one of those things that, like, when you're 7, they're not necessarily. They're a very fishy fish.
Yeah, I think they're very fishy. I'm not really about anchovies myself. Was it easy to make the move to Whistler? I'm thinking of moving out to Banff or maybe even Whistler when? As well. I would just say that you want to make sure that you're planning your trip to Whistler. I took like a few months to specifically plan out, how I was going to do it, making sure that I had enough money. I had a contact already that I could contact for both a job and a place, which is kind of rare. You kind of have to be prepared to maybe do some couch surfing, maybe live in a hostel. It does take quite a bit to find a place here, especially if you come in the busy season. My recommendation would be to come on the off season in the summer and try to find a place then as far as accommodation is concerned, because if you come right before the season in November, it's almost impossible to find a place.
Yeah. It's like going to the big roller coaster ride at like 10 o'clock and you're like, oh, maybe no one will be here. Oh wait, it's packed.
Yeah, and I recommend saving about maybe $3,000, like $3,000 Canadian, just to make the change. That way you have a good sort of buffer of money,
There's about 5 or 6 years that I wasn't necessarily couch surfing, but there were people like couch surfing at my place, and I knew lots of couch surfers, and it was just, it seemed to be a rotation of couch surfingness that was happening in Ski Town. So yeah, there's definitely don't put down couch surfing, that's for sure. Or you're just like sleeping on a landing.
That's what my cousin did. She slept on a landing over someone's laundry room. And
then the funny thing about it is there was like 2 or 3 like bedrooms, like in the landing. Like you walk up the stairs, and so he would get annoyed if like somebody like comes in like from being out at the club or is like leaving for work in the morning. Like, keep it down, I'm trying to sleep. Like, dude, you're sleeping in the landing. You have to be a little bit flexible. All right, we'll do a few more. It's been an hour 20 already. Whew, time's flying. So yeah, get your last questions in here.
How was your experience moving to BC? I'm thinking of going to school there. BC is totally different than Ontario. It feels like the Wild West of the country. Everything out here is bigger. There's mountains. Everything is like more grandeur. And the people are, more outdoorsy, hip.
More outdoorsy,
yeah. Outgoing. And they're more chill.
Less about the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Smith 40 mag or flight decks?
What? The 40 mag or so the 40 mag is their new lens that wraps under the underside here so that you get really good peripherals. I personally...
Can you still blow your nose?
I'm personally a Smith fan because I really do like their anti-fog ability. Smith is one of the best brands out there for anti-fogging, and because I'm a bigger guy and I sweat a lot, anything that can sort of help me to fog less is better. I also have a pair of flight decks, but I think if I were going to compare the Smith to the flight deck, I really like the old Smith IOXs. Those were one of my favorite pairs of goggles, and they're the best for not fogging.
I was getting confused. I thought for a second that Smith did the happy lenses, but that's Spy.
That's Spy. But they don't even do that anymore. That's not a thing anymore. Oh. They call it something else. They call it like HD lens now.
But it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the sound of happy lens.
Yeah, they don't do it anymore. Not branded that way anymore.
Fair enough. All right, we'll do a little quick run through. Sublime Honeybee, she needs her rest. Who doesn't? Cool older cousin got me into boarding from JE. Nice. Matisse, Brants, you wouldn't notice much of a difference unless you're riding POW. Okay. If you had to choose between Magna Traction, Grip Tech, all the different techs of gripping, and
I like Magna Traction the best, to tell you the truth, yeah.
I know some people like the Arbor.
Yeah, I think TJ prefers Arbor's Grip Tech, but I really like LibTech's Magna Traction, and I also really like Yes's Underbite.
T25, be advised, it is likely that if you find you do in fact like the anchovy, you will eat 1 or 2 too many. They're very salty.
Oh yeah, they're super salty.
But actually, they're a good fish to eat because the there's little waste in making them. They're so small. There's not a lot of bio waste in them growing. It's not like when you get these giant tunas or salmon. They literally just eat the grass of the ocean, and then that's it. They're not eating other fish, so your bio loss is a lot better.
Yo, Andreas, how often do I wax my super DOA? Sporting Life on Young is trying to tell me every ride or twice max. Is this false? You definitely don't need to ride or wax it every single time that you ride it. I typically wax my board every 5 to 6, maybe every 7 times that I take it out, and that's for a full day of riding. And there's definitely different snow conditions that are like more mandatory for wax. Here in Whistler, if you get that really, really dry, crunchy snow, then wax is an absolute must. It's not as big of a deal on a normal snow day, but in the later months of the spring, when we get that wet, heavy snow, any little bit of extra wax does help. So it kind of depends on the conditions, it depends on the time of the year, and it depends on the base. But because there's a very high-end base on the Super DOA, I would say, yeah, like every 5 to 6 times you ride it, and that would be like for a full day of riding. And you don't absolutely have to, but it's going to make the experience better. You know, like waxing is always just going to keep your base nice and hydrated, make the base the fastest it can be. So the more you can wax, the better. Yeah.
Okay, last couple questions. How do you keep your energy up on the mountain? You got to eat before you go. You got to stay hydrated and have some snacks.
Yeah, breakfast is key, man. You have to eat breakfast. If I don't eat breakfast, I really die out. And you want to stay hydrated. Keep drinking that water.
T25 for the neck. Okay, hang loose broccoli. Cool.
Live
All
Bird,
right.
you like daily driver material? I would say it's daily driver for big mountain category. You know, if you're looking at accessibility to powder, I wouldn't say that it's like a good all mountain board if you're staying mainly on piste, but yeah, for deeper snow conditions for sure.
All right. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks, Andreas, for letting us come down and use the shop and check out some snowboards and some bindings and pick your brain like a mad scientist.
Well, thank you, Chris, for coming down and involving me. And now we're both on the internet.
People
together.
are watching us.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I can't believe that people tune into this to hear me babble on for durations of time with my big beardy face and my long blonde hair.
It's all that knowledge in the beard. It's just
it just pours out of me.
Cool, yeah. And so we're gonna be snowboarding soon. We're gonna have some videos up nice and soon. In fact, we might be snowboarding quite soon, especially if we've been getting a lot of snow in the mountains. I think we might have to do one more
hike,
maybe we'll see what happens if it just looks that good. But yeah, lots of snowboarding stuff to come, and there might be something in my buying area in terms of split boards coming up kind of soon. So
let's make a full big deal about it, you know,
get the mayor down.
Let's get the mayor.
He's a ginger too. More gingers. I think you just do the ginger call. Like, oh, the gingers are calling. That away. Grab the lead singer of Simply Red and Ed Sheeran. Awesome. Yeah, hopefully you guys are having fun shredding. Are you going to be shredding too?
Yeah, guys, great community. Thanks for tuning in. It really means a lot to us to see all these people that show up every week and that they all know each other and they all say hi. It's like a big chat room. It's a super awesome community, and I'm really pumped to see it. So, yeah.
Scott is coming in with the giant smiley emoticon. Perfect.
Thanks, Scott. Ow!
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again. Yep. Toodaloo.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling.
And on that note, see you later.
Peace out.